Before getting started with a 3D work, it's a good idea to go into topography and overlay the surface DTM to make sure that all of the colored areas or surfaces fall over the DTM. The next step would be to go take the fill options or press F and turn on or off the items that you want to show up on the 3D, because you don't want to show everything. You don't want to show walls, bedrooms, windows, things like that. So then you turn those fills off and on, refresh the screen, and then that you're ready to create the 3D. So press the virtual 3D button, compile 3D, say you want to save the 3D file, and the first step is you'll see all the little blue dots. It's thinking, it's creating the first step. The next step, there'll be a little pause, you'll see the blue triangle. So if you don't see the blue triangle, something went wrong. And the guy pacing back and forth, he'll stop. So once you see the site filled in, you're close, and then the 3D comes up. So you press the forward arrow to get onto the 3D. Here I've pressed Shift G to get 200 feet in the air, look 45 degrees down, looking around, make sure nothing looks wrong. And then hit Escape, because you can't have two 3D windows open at once. Now we're going into this 3D setup. I'm just going to take the outer side and pick a color for things that are outside the site and make sure we're at the resolution we want, and then take another look at it, view it. I hit Shift 3, and now you can see the site pop out. So once you've changed parameters, what you want to do is you want to update the 3D site so that when you open it back up, that 3D windows, it comes right at that view. And that's what we're doing. So now let's take a look at the home itself. So what we're going to do is look at the 3D model of the home, and we're going to prepare it to put a SketchUp model in the perimeter of the boundary. So what we're doing is creating an AutoCAD file to send out, and what we're going to do is pull up SketchUp and then import from SketchUp that AutoCAD file, the CAD file. So use import AutoCAD, and then go to the file, read it in, and it will show up in the SketchUp. So the next step is to go ahead and explode everything. So what you want to do is right click and explode all the stuff, and then erase, go to the eraser and erase anything that is not part of the home, because typically on LandMentor you're going to have driveways, sidewalks, things like that. So get rid of the stuff and just get back to the basic home information. So what I've done here was I offset inside that house a ½ a foot. I'm going to raise the shell, you would say, of the home 9 feet. I'm lowering now 8 foot to create like a basement, even if you have slab on grade, because the site's not going to be flat. You don't want these homes floating around. You also want to raise things like porches and decks just a little bit so they don't interfere with the surface, and then bring a little bit of a foundation below it. Again, you don't want anything to float, and that's your basic shell. And just for an example, what we're going to do is create a garage door, and then what I do is I take that rectangle, push it in, match the wall, and now we've got an opening. And typically this scenario, that when we work on these jobs, we have interior walls, kitchens, things like that. A lot of this is coming right from the architecture. We might have windows already spotted. This is our signature. Get a panoramic view. You want to get those windows over at the corners. And again, create your windows so you can look out the site from the interior of the home. With this next step, we're going to just select the outer perimeter of the home. In this example, what we're going to do is just select the outer edges to create a roof overhang. And I'm going to create that overhang. I'm just going to enter an 8 for 8 inches, and then use the offset tool up here to just grab that, pull it out a little bit. I enter 8, and then I've got my offset. And then I'm going to push this surface up using that tool, the push tool, and I'm going to just go up 6 inches. And then what I'm going to do is just take the pencil tool, and I'm just going to trace one edge, and that will create my ceiling. And I'll repeat the same thing with the offset. So we've created the ceiling, and then I'll erase those little offset edges that won't affect that lower ceiling because that exists. There's a gap between them. And just get rid of those so now I have something simple to work with. So again, I'm going to go to the pencil, just create some lines. This is just an example. It's not a real home. It's just to show you how easy it is to create a roof line. SketchUp automatically get the midpoint, and then I'm going to take this relocate tool and raise the roof. I see that little blue lines, that vertical line I formed. So I raised it vertically. And I'm speeding this up a little bit, but I'm raising another vertical line, creating a hip in the front. I'll do the same thing, create a hip in the roof, and then I'm just going to erase the middle lines and then push those right through the roof, and that's an easy way to create that stuff. Then I'll take everything, erase the man before you do this. Then I'm going to select everything and then intersect the surfaces, and that creates those low vertical lines, and we have the basic shell of the home. This next step's kind of important because you want to take the fill tool. I've got everything selected, and then make sure everything is painted with a color. Everything. Interior walls, floors, ceilings, everything. And then you'll come in later and create your textures, but this way you'll be able to go in the home. The wall will be a solid surface, and you'll be able to look out those windows without having anything going kind of funny or funky on the system. So make sure everything is colored in. So what I'm going to do now is I have these openings. I'll just show you one example. I'm going to take the rectangle tool, and I'm going to go over and trace over that window so it's got a solid fill. Then I'm going to go down and go to my woods, and what I'll do is fill that in with a wood color that I want for the window trim. This is kind of a little easy way to make trim. I'm going to offset that just a few inches, and then that creates a rectangle and a rectangle. So I'm going to take my selection tool, snap that, hit delete, and I've got the outside of the window. I'm going to take my color, my wood, paint the inside, and then pull that to create the window frame. Now when I'm pulling, I'm holding the control button down so it creates more of a solid. And then once you're done with everything, you could go ahead and create your, take your trim, select your trim, create your colors, just finish up the rest of the model. However the architect has it. Of course, I'm going 300% faster here. I'm not actually that fast. Put a carpet down, put your ceilings down, the colors, and create what the base of your model is. So once your home is done, what you need to do is create a group. Select everything and then make it a group. And this is very important. You're going to have to take that group and center it on the axis. If you don't do this, that home is going to come up at the wrong location in LandMentor. So make sure it's centered. You want to take and verify the vertical axis. Make sure it's not floating. And then save it away under SketchUp file name so you have it. And you'll save two files, the SketchUp, and then you're going to export it as a collada file. That is what LandMentor will read in. You want the SketchUp file in case you've made a mistake. Then what we would recommend is to right click it, flip it along. Typically it's the red axis, so we get the garage on the other side. Save it away as a SketchUp. But before you do that, you want to explode it, intersect the surfaces, make a group again, and then save it away as both a SketchUp and a collada file, so you can come back to it later. LandMentor does not import SketchUp, it imports collada, so you can come in from almost every 3D package, AutoCAD, whatever, and import these models. So what I'm doing here under Edit is I'm going to change my layer 4 to a layer 18. My layer 18 is very faint, so you won't see it. And then I'm going to erase everything, but I'm going to move layer 18, erase by layers to the left, and then everything's going to be gone except for layer 18. And then I'm going to erase my surfaces. So now I have layer 18. I'm going to delete unused points, very important. So get rid of those little red dots. And now I've got the base. I'm just going to call it junk for now, but I've got the base for the 3D. And what I'm going to do is call up that collada file, and then I'm going to hit submit, and it shows you the perimeter in red. If you see a lot of red internal lines, it's probably a bad file. And then I'm going to place it as best I can over that perimeter, and then once I have that, hit escape, save, and I'm going to start the file with 3D so I know it's a 3D. And typically I'll put these into a different directory so I know. So I got 3D, house, garage, right, and now I know what it is. So now we're back at the site plan. You have multiple LandMentors running at the same time. Zoom up on the area that you want to place the model homes in. These are the garage right homes. I hit a group, call a group, that 3D home you want to use as graphic only. And then place, you don't have to be perfectly exact, but just place them close to where the buildings are. In 3D, if you're off by a few inches, no one's going to be able to see this. And you could get it exact and take the time, but typically you might have hundreds of homes and they're fairly detailed with interiors and more detailed than this. So you don't want it to be too time consuming. And then place them all, hit view 3D, and that's your 3D models show up. So what you want to do at this stage is look around, see what's kind of odd. Maybe you didn't place a home right versus the natural ground. Look for the gotchas on this. This is not necessarily at the stage where you want to show the client. This is still in design stage to make sure that your design is what you thought it was going to be, because that's really what 3D is, like a pre-presentation mode. Just get a feel of are you on the right track? Because it's very easy to then change the design and come back to this, as you can see, go back and forth, just so that you can nail this and get it right. You want to be looking around, save it away, pull up some more units, save it away. So this is really pre-presentation mode. So most of this time that we spent talking about SketchUp, how to make the model, how to import the model, really, when you think about it, to go from LandMentor to 3D really took, 10 seconds effort. So you can go back and forth, use this as a design tool, but ultimately what you want to use is really the hundreds and hundreds of models that we have included with your LandMentor system to come through, place your homes, embellish the plan, and then what you've got is something that is really special for a presentation. People and cars are important because it gives scale. Without people and cars, you can't tell how big some space is, because homes and trees, they don't have a defined space to the human mind. So what you want to do is really sparingly use these things so it gets the feel of the site, and that's more in presentation mode. But going from plan mode, experimentation mode to presentation mode, it's the exact same steps. And the big thing is to make sure you get your SketchUp model right, and then everything goes smoothly.